Hopefully I have enough
Or
reserves.
I
Man,
miss Craig.
you know what's kind of fucked these days? Like, so I have a globalmail.com account subscription. I don't know. Every now and then, like, I get the ad for, yo, this is a
Ooh.
dollar. So I'm like, yeah, I want to read what's on it. It's behind a paywall, a dollar. I'm going to support journalism. $1 can't go wrong. And then they jack it up next month for $30, right?
why just get the Apple Plus and you get it all
Well, I'm an
included?
Android guy, so that's problematic. But here's the problem: is I think they know this well. The only way to cancel it is to phone them during that 9 to 5 time to cancel your
No.
account. You can't cancel.
No.
And it's been several months now that I've been running this Global Mail account because I always forget the 9 to 5 times. And my wife at Ready Visa is like, dude, you're still paying for Global Mail. I'm like, yeah, I haven't even. Then I feel obligated to go to Global Mail after I read that I'm still paying for it to read an article. I'm like, ah, nothing here interests me anymore. And yeah, so Globe and Mail, I've basically paid some journalist's salary for several months because I can't call to cancel. My gym pass is the same thing. My
That's
gym
a good gym,
membership,
yeah.
gym's just as bad. Gym's almost like 6 years in. Haven't really
The gy-
been,
the
but
gym's the
they
best. You got to come in and talk to our manager. I'm like, I'm just gonna cancel my credit card. They're like, okay, 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 okay.
they
That's
make
the
me
end of it.
freaking write a letter to their head office in LA to cancel. I'm
That's
like,
so
man, I don't got
ridiculous.
no stamp. This is
Next time, just report them as fraud, man. They'll stop doing it.
Yeah.
yeah, but then now sometimes I'm like, ah, maybe I need to keep my. Maybe this is a sign from God that I should have my gym pass and I should go to the gym. And then I'm
Robbie
like,
also used to run huge bar tabs on our nights out and then would cancel his credit card the next day.
How do you think I afford all those trips, bro?
Just talking? Well, what's the show about? It's about nothing. It's about nothing.
Just want these guys to know you got another thing coming, bitch. I'm still around.
Yeah.
man, I actually saw this thing which kind of threw me off. It was like one of these rich guys doing like one of those TED Talks on Instagram that someone clipped. He's like, the worst thing to ever have been created is the debit card. And I tell my kids and every one of my child, I
Yeah,
took
yeah.
their debit cards away because everything
Use
should be
credit.
done on your credit because
Yeah.
that's their money. While my money stays in my bank account collecting interest. And I'm like, that's dope, except when you mispay your credit card and now you're paying 20% more on everything like I do every now and then, it drives me insane. So I don't know if that's the type of advice you want to give people because that goes almost contrary to the use cash for everything and never hold debt advice. So, sir, which one of you rich people are telling the truth? Um,
He probably works for the credit cards.
yeah, I
Mm.
mean, it's one of those pieces of advice where like the guy says it so convincingly, then some whack ass financial agent hears it and he starts telling his clients that, and all of a sudden they're racking bills because they're spending more on their credit card
I
because they're
think
responsible with their money.
They
I
put
think
out
recently
videos.
all yeah, I think all these financial real estate guys are taking a seat back right now because nothing's making sense. So
Yeah, I mean that happens with crypto guys. 2 years,
yep.
like 6 months ago, every fucking. This is when I know shit was maxed out, and I was telling everyone to get out. I saw like the most random fuddu on my Twitter account, being like, "Yo, I just released a video explaining NFTs." I'm like, brother, the fuck are you doing in life that you're trying to become an NFT influencer now, right? And it's just like some random bloke from the UK doing it. I'm like, bruh, this is the time you know the market's like hit a peak when you get these random guys jumping in. You got to get out. And then I feel like real estate hit that mark point. If you like really look at real estate videos and you saw the guys really like hamming it with real estate advice on how to be a millionaire, that kind of sparked the top for us there too. Like February probably had like the most real estate advice videos coming out. And now I'm seeing a guy that I know has no like he's not an economist. He most likely did I know he didn't go to like college for like a business type diploma or program. He did like the WFG Introduction to Home
Oh.
Economics Finance program, and now he's on Instagram releasing
Students
reels like advertising things. I'm like,
and they're taking shots.
I'm just saying, man. The top in crypto, it's always been known. They're like, yo, find a fudu, and when he starts giving advice, that's when like when he's saying
Mm.
sell, that's when you buy. When he's saying buy, that's when he starts selling. And I feel like across all markets that like just totally ham, I saw that in real estate. I saw
Yes.
that in crypto NFTs again. I saw that, and now I don't know if like what do you call financial planners. I also saw like it in stocks a little bit because I saw the most random guys like just in some of my gaming discords, started saying, "Hey boys, now's the time to buy." I'm like, time for me to figure out what you're suggesting and do the opposite.
I think
I
the
know,
problem.
I know a lot of guys who like opened up their own like paid Discord chats for
Wow.
stocks and whatnot.
Yeah, let me tell you guys what's good.
Yeah. That was a big boom, actually, like during Beak this past year or so.
Did they make
Crazy.
money?
Yeah, they
A lot of
probably
them
sell
claim
those
to,
numbers,
yeah.
but they probably lost money on their actual stocks, but they made money in their Discord calls, or
Yeah,
not.
I think that kind of advice applies to a lot of people who have an excessive amount of money maybe to spend, but I think my piece of advice would be for like 75 to 80% of the public, save your money.
Yeah, support these groups.
Just
There was this.
save your
I
money, man. Things are not looking good. You know.
When I was in crypto for the first time years ago, I used to get like a lot of friends hitting me up. Yo, what should we do? What should this that? I'm like, look, man, just hold and pray. And then every now and then I'd say something that would like come to fruition, and my buddy like, yo, I did that. I fucking made a shit ton. I'm like, how much money you made? Yo, I shit you not. I've had friends who made like 200 grand just by like randomly following some shit I told them like passively. And I'm like, hold on, how much you make? They're like 200. I'm like, I made fucking like 2,000. The fuck? And then I felt down like, yo, this guy's following my advice to a T and making this much money. Why am I not doing the same thing? So I'm trying to be like cautious, not trying to go all in. These guys are going like, hold on, shouldn't have said black? All on black. I was like, yo, what if you fucking lost all that shit? Then I stopped giving advice. I'm like, I'm setting people down this weird road. Let me just chill on random suggestions.
But I
Yeah,
mean,
that's pretty good.
all that stuff's a gamble, right? I mean, it's like any gambling addict. You only hear about their wins, right? No one really talks about all their losses.
Buddy, if I start telling my losses, we can look in the sad place. Let's just. I only tell people
Darkness, the
it's dark.
darkness.
It's like hello darkness. You know what's crazy is I don't know if people know about the early crypto days, like not early, I guess 2015, 2016, like after the first big ups and downs. The crypto forums, like the Reddit Bitcoin forum, usually have to put the suicide hotline number saying,
What?
listen. No, because people would legit mortgage their fucking houses, buy a shit ton, the market would tank. And this, kid you not, this is like, so when Bitcoin was $80 and it crashed, it came down to like 40, 35. Suicide number came up. You just lost half your money. Now you look in hindsight like, yo, who gives a fuck? Right? But at the time, you lost half your money. You're like, it's never coming back up. Crypto's, and it happens every friggin' cycle. Then they rinse you again. It was such a common thing that I'm like, man, this. And at that time, I wasn't mortgaging my house or anything because I've never been a dumbass. But at the same time, it's like, why weren't you doing that now? Hindsight trading, man. And I saw like even AK was doing that shit where he was like, join our Discord group. We were offering finance. Like, this guy, motherfucker's a YouTuber who does funny clips. Where did he get like?
But
And
I
then
mean, in an up market, everybody's making money, right?
buy whatever.
It's-
it's going up.
My mom's a trader in an up market.
But in a bear
Yeah.
market, that's when you really see what people who know what
People
they're
have
doing.
made it. That's when I actually learned to
Yeah.
trade.
You know, so I mean, but it's like any kind of it's a it feels like everything's a Ponzi scheme. Everybody wants to get rich quick.
Everybody wants to
everybody-
get rich.
Yeah, everyone's getting Bernie Madoff. They just don't realize it, right? It's just on social media now, so it's a
Yes.
bit different.
I mean, Elon
Uh,
Musk, the king of that shit, right? He
Yeah.
used to pump the market with random tweets.
I mean, everybody does it. Even like, think about it, like one of the most famous contracts in baseball. Well, one of the funniest contracts in baseball is still being paid out today because the New York Mets trusted Bernie Madoff in his game. So they guaranteed some player, I forgot how much money initially over the course of, I think it's still 2035, and they're going to pay him like about 1.2 million still. And this is a contract that's been going on for 20 years.
That's
Like,
amazing.
like it's crazy. Bobby Bonilla, I think that's his name. It's a really famous thing in baseball. But
They just got Bobby Vanilla.
they try to play like, oh, okay, we'll just pay this guy. You know, we'll take this money now because we're gonna make like 20% on it, and then obviously it all fell apart. So
I'll be honest though, the amount of wealth in the Punjabi community right now is insane.
I think a few people, man. I don't think it's everybody.
No. So I think the disparity is growing,
Hmm.
but just judging from like some personal circles I know,
Well, look
How's
at those
that?
guys. I mean, those guys just donated $10 million.
they're in the
Right,
$1 billion
like,
annual, right?
But I mean,
Um,
there
okay,
is
so
there is
there
levels, right?
there's definitely levels. But then like you look at Castlemore was always considered Brampton's elite.
Hmm.
Top. They were the guys who bought the taxi plates early and cashed in, or they were willing to live in the boonies early. But everyone I know still living in Castlemore, pretty wealthy, pretty well off type figures. Uh, I was at one of my buddies' weddings a few weeks ago, and then just like the net worth in the halls, and I knew some people like, yo, that guy's a developer, that guy's a developer, that guy's a developer, yo, that guy just closed this tech deal, and I was like, holy shit, this is mind-boggling money right now, and they're all Punjabis. Uh, and then I was at another reception a few weeks ago or a week later, and I was like, these guys are going pretty ham with like invites were like fucking thick plastic pieces. I'm like,
Like double
you know,
bonded paper. Wow.
yeah, but like on like a wedding invitation on acrylic, I'm like, well, that one cost them like $4 to print.
Yeah,
Uh,
they do the whole India printing thing, right? So
yeah, but then you start
yeah.
wondering, like, yo, and then Ranji was telling me this the other day. He's like, yo, Punjabis have done pretty well for themselves overall. Like the trucking companies killed it. The guys who were in the trucking early
Those
2000 trucking
truckers,
scene,
goddamn truckers.
they killed it, right?
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
what's rich? That's a good question, actually. What do you
so
guys think is rich?
a net worth of 10 million up, you're rich.
Mm. Net worth?
Yeah.
Net worth. So house, if you have, it could be in houses, it could be whatever. If it's a positive net worth,
That doesn't seem like a lot anymore.
that's 3 houses.
Well,
If you own
that's
3
pretty good.
houses,
That's
Yeah,
pretty
that's
good.
3 houses owned,
3
not
houses.
mortgaged, not invested. Like you own them.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you
They're
get
paid off.
clear.
They're paid off.
Even mortgage, even if they're under mortgage, I think
No,
that's still pretty
but
impressive.
that's where it gets confusing, right? Like you'll see those Instagram videos. The guy's like, "I got 110 doors. I'm worth 310 million." You're like, "Yeah, you probably did it in a way where you could get it. I mean, you haven't paid it off."
Robbie, like smart people always use credit to their advantage, right?
Yeah.
No, agreed. But I'm saying their actual net worth will be based on what they actually own. No, right? If
No.
mortgage is a debt, isn't it?
No, I mean if I
Let-
have property worth X amount,
Yeah, you're the residual. Whatever the difference is
Yeah,
your net
equity.
worth. Yeah,
I don't
no,
think
your
like
equity.
like on
No?
a, like on a let me put it to you this way. If you were to consider yourself an accredited investor, the guidelines kind of just ask you like what your salary is or your combined household income.
Yeah.
And they ask you what your assets are, like hard assets, right? Like stocks, mutual funds, and real estate. They don't ask what portion of it is free and clear. If you have X amount of real estate, like valued real estate, then that's all that matters for like,
Oh, wow,
exempt
okay.
market security dealing. So for your net worth, I would say, yeah, if your property's X value, then that's what it is. And no one's
So
the idea is no one's lending like crazy high LTV,
Yeah.
right? So it's more or less you have a bulk of the equity in it, anyways.
So 10 million, you guys think is the
That's where I kind of
threshold?
That's a fair.
I was
threshold.
thinking. I feel like okay, so this is how I conceptualize this in my head. If you're at 10 million, you're the middle class of the rich,
That's messed up, man.
right? 10 million, you're the middle class of the rich. If
Here's
you-
me thinking a million was a big deal.
Yeah. So 10 million, anything below 10 million, you're in the mud. You're trying to get
Wow.
out.
In the
right?
mud.
You're in the mud. You're in the mud.
Wow.
Anything below a million, you're homeless.
Yeah,
That's kind of
yeah. Anything if your net worth's under a million or under, yeah, you're.
That's
still
crazy.
struggling. You're
that's like
still
the metric that
struggling.
I kind of and I say that kind of disparagingly, like holy shit. Just when I thought I got out, now there's this whole new echelon of, and I'm
Hmm.
like, and it's funny because sometimes you meet rich people, and then he's kind of it's kind of a credit that now you're socializing with more rich people, and then you're seeing the levels to this rich
Well,
people
I mean,
shit.
I mean, you might see as a drawback that you feel like, oh, I haven't made it, but the one benefit of it's going to make you try harder. Set a new bar for you to achieve something else, right? That's not the
I
That's
swear
what
to
you
God.
would-
Those who are inclined to do that.
So I was
know?
thinking about this too. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, fuck the rich, eat the rich, fuck them. We need to just tax them more and get. I was like, I was going straight NDP shit. I was like, yo, let's just socialize this whole damn planet.
you tied your
And,
orange bug. You got to tie your orange bug when you say that.
Yeah. I'm
And
like,
tight the mullah.
I-
Make sure
Dude.
you're very tight the mullah going up.
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Part of me was also like, yo, if they all made it from and part of me, I'm not saying that they, you know, there's a portion of people who are generational wealth, but a lot of the guys right now are new money, and their wealth is they made smart investments, and they, cascaded it through.
I can't
but
stand new money.
but
But it is new
Well,
money, right? Like the parents made an investment,
I love
but
new
you look
money,
at what the
though.
parent was doing 20 years ago. The dad was, just struggling to pay his mortgage and get his kids by and worrying
But
about
I mean,
whereas.
is that still not generational wealth if you use that platform? Or there had to be one hard worker. That still counts.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't count, but
Yeah,
I'm saying, and I'm not discouraging the work. I'm saying it's respectable that our
yeah,
community has ground up from delivering pizzas to getting their taxi plates to getting multiple taxi plates to maybe buying a truck and now leveraging that to buy more trucks and then running
yeah,
that, then using that equity to buy a gas station, buying a gas station, buying another house, renting it out. Like they've
yeah.
been making plays and they're making good plays. And to their credit, they use the real estate market and this is from the beginning of time, they've been saying buying your house. And they
Yeah.
did that. They bought their houses. They made those free and clear. They bought more houses. They bought land, and they developed shit. And it's kind of amazing because that our community's gone to this point where, and their kids are going to inherit generational wealth, and hopefully their kids aren't fools. Some kids I 100% know are going to be fools and waste a big chunk of it. And I hope they
What's it?
marry.
It takes 3 generations, right, to wipe out.
This is going to
Yeah.
be wiped out. In some cases,
one.
it's wiped in the first. This
One.
kid's going to be a coke addict, and it's gone, right?
Or just like needs to go on.
So it's like when you hear that, what's the point? Just spend it all yourself, man. Live your
No,
life.
see, I learned the life hack now. I figured it out. If you think your kid's a complete dumbass,
Hmm.
marry him to someone smart.
Yeah.
Just marry him to someone smart and hope that she keeps him in line to keep the wealth going.
Fair enough. Unless she
But-
divorces. Unless she divorces and it takes half.
She's too smart. Yeah, it takes half.
Oh man, you gotta put it in a family trust. Like, look, you don't really
Put
own
it in
this
a
wealth.
trust.
You've
Put it in a
owned
trust.
you're part of the family trust, and your kids will be part of the trust. Because if you
mean-
divorce, there's really not half for you to take.
But it's crazy to think that 10 million is the new for you guys a threshold.
No,
Like
it's not
my-
a threshold. That's the
my-
middle
no-
class.
No, but my out now is like, yeah, if I got if I was lucky enough to make 5 million or do that, I'm good. Like anything more is a bonus.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, I play the lottery when Lotto Max hits 50 mil.
Yeah.
Lotto Max hits 50 mil. All right, I'll buy a ticket.
It's worth my $5 that I know I'm
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
gonna lose.
I look at Sol 649 and see 3 million, and I was like, what the fuck?
That ain't worth it.
Like,
What is
penny
this
change?
shit?
What am I gonna do with this pocket
I
change?
wipe my ass with $3 million. You know? No, but like, it's not worth it.
No,
Like,
what I mean
things-
is like, okay, look, if you have a house,
Yeah.
you have a few investments, let's put it that way. Yeah, 3-4 million is not a bad exit. You can live a decent life. Not your kids, but yourself. It's enough. Like how stupid do we sound? We're talking about how 5 million is not enough money and the way the economy is going right now. What's wrong with you guys?
Yeah, but I guess the
You guys are one-
presumption,
you guys
are
the
one
presumption
percenters.
is
That's not fucking with a Rolls
presumption
Royce.
is-
The
yeah,
Rolls
yeah.
Royce EV guy selling us.
the presumption is though, like our parents built up their own nest egg for their retirement and some to give us a step up. So
Sure.
the presumption is that we're doing the same, not just our exit. It's our exit and springboard the kids to do the same thing and pay
So
it forward.
by the time our kids are 25, you're thinking 20 mil will be the standard?
Probably considering the way inflation is.
Yeah, I'm just gonna give up now. It's easier that way. Just saying,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be poor. It's fine. I can live my life, man.
Hold on. Here's a question for you guys though. How do you feel about kids who haven't worked it? So, in your cases, if your parents made money, dope, but you guys have established yourself to be able to stand on your own 2 feet without that wealth. You don't need that wealth to back you up. You're able to say, "Dad, that's great that you made it. I can do that myself right now." But what about
Yeah.
the kids who are just like, "Yo, daddy's money. Let's buy the car. Let me post this shit on Instagram." How do you feel about that shit?
It's a two-sided thing for me. I can't hate them because I'm not them, right? Like if I had the money, maybe I would do the same thing if my dad, gifted me whatever I wanted. But on the other hand, there's something to be said when you achieve you know, ascertain something.
Can you think of
Or
another adjective to describe making money?
I'm just saying through your own success, not money, just through your own hard work, knowing that you did it without, the guiding, helping hand of your father or parents. That feeling that you get from that is, it's like a drug for me, man. Like, oh yeah, I could take money from my dad. I could do this. I could do that. But I kind of like the fact that I do it on my own. But at the same time, I'm not talking about $10 million. I don't know how I would act if I had that kind of money. Like, yo, check out my Ferrari, bro. My
I have a
Ferrari, mine.
I have a different take than you, Robbie. Like,
Yeah.
I guess just perspective, and not to get like too long-winded. I was always told like my great-great-grandfather, for example, start the line there, stood on his father's shoulders to attain what he did,
Fair
and
enough.
so on and so on and so on
Fair
and
enough.
so
Fair
on.
enough. Yeah.
It's your own hubris to think that you've done something yourself without any help.
Yeah.
So, um,
Well, I
well,
didn't mean.
now
Yeah,
I
I
just
didn't mean
take
it
it
like
part
that.
and parcel. Like, I am where I'm able to be practicing law, whatnot, because the choices my parents made and what they've done.
Yeah. Yes.
And Shinda, you're right. I am, in theory, able to be self-sufficient and not rely on Bapu and Ura his paise. Um,
But
but but there are kids, yeah. मैं pilot पापे दे पैसे उड़ाना, right? uh, but there are those kids that, yeah, man, they just stunt, uh,
But
Insta
there's
vacations, sweet
yeah.
rides, don't have the jobs or the education to back up what they're spending or what their output is. So you obviously, Papa's great.
There's a
But
Daddy
that might that
Barakade.
might be that might be like going back to what you said earlier. That might be the generation that's gonna blow
But
That's like
the world, right?
there's a third tier to that. There are those kids who didn't do anything in school, are taking papa's dough and actually making something out of it. There are a few of those as well. Whatever it be, real estate, whatever they might be doing, they're actually
Continuing the
making
family
something of themselves.
business.
But yeah, but going back to your point, I agree with Ranji. Says, yeah, I'm nowhere with obviously with my grandfather, and my dad, but I'm just saying from a 9 to 5 thing. You work, I work, we all work, right now, and at the end of the day, we're paid for what we do, and there is something to that, right? Hard
Mm.
work is what I'm getting at. I don't mean by yeah, it's just different taking a
All right.
credit card and just buying whatever you want, right?
I know you guys don't like when I hate, but now that you brought it up, let me sip a little bit of H2O before I go on this. I was at I was at a reception last week, and reception halls are dope. They have a lot of little features you can get. One of the features that a lot of reception halls offer is you can buy a light engineer. You pay these guys, I think, what, $1,000, $2,000, and they hook up into the venue's lighting system. And obviously, I'm a vendor, so I was hooking up my shit, getting my shit ready. I didn't really decide to. I was getting ready behind one of these lighting engineers. This lighting engineer was like, you know what? I'm trying to find a job where I really don't got to do anything, and I make a shit ton of money. And I'm looking at this, I'm like, you're a fucking light engineer. That's basically what you're doing. Light engineers do shit at a function. They literally, like, it's the greatest waste of money because they literally have a laptop open and they look at it as if they're doing something. But I stared at their laptop while they were working, literally did nothing. It's all automated. The lights are already scheduled. These fuckers couldn't even put the spotlight in the right spot when they needed to, out of like, they're like, the template only, that's it, put it here. We don't, I'm like, these motherfuckers don't know what they're doing. They made $2,000. They're going to sit here for 6 hours, 5 hours. Literally zeros. DJs work. DJs at a reception, good DJs, they'll put in different types of work. The camera guys, the video guys, all have different varying amounts of work. We were talking about MUAs having very little like output versus input type thing.
Yeah.
No, light engineers literally just sit there.
I don't think they make as much as you say. That's where muas win.
No, but I think they make
I
$1,000.
keep calling
Like
muas, yeah.
They are, man. You don't know? You didn't know that? What was?
I had no idea what makeup artist meant. I always thought it was mua.
but yeah,
Because like they always do right? I thought it was a thing. It's the sound you make, right? Mua. Yeah. Anyways, I still think they are bang for the buck. Like they win. They're like top tier. But yeah, you're right. Light engineer is a fucking joke.
Oh, you're talking about like wedding industry.
It's the new because I never knew about light engineers. I knew that
Honestly,
I was charged to get the lighting.
I think photographers don't do nothing.
No, I can't say that.
I
The
think
amount of editing that goes after, and
Whoa,
I've
whoa,
worked
whoa,
with photographers.
time out. Here's all just fine if you're editing yourself, but I know a lot of people who outsource their editing, so they take a cut of that. You got someone working in another country doing your editing, and the files come back.
So
So
that's
you're
smart.
literally you're just clicking on either raw or an auto and just pop, 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 pop.
You got to get the composition. Their
Ah,
hours are insane. Their hours literally doing 14 hours, 16 hours.
so what?
Huh?
So what?
I'll be
So
honest,
just-
man. I can't hate off
Come on.
photographers. I've
They-
seen
they
the work
get-
they put in.
They get paid like 10 G's now is their going rate for a
I have
wedding?
no idea. Is that photographer and video or?
No, just a
photographer
photographer.
video is way more.
10 G's, brother. You don't
Yeah.
think that's fair for a weekend of work?
I don't
You're
know,
saying
man.
18 hours. Someone gave you 10 hours to code for 18 hours. You're not going to do it?
Yeah, I'd code. Fuck.
Oh, come on.
All right, that is pretty wild.
It's the same. Think about what you do per day, per hour, and then be like, all right, what do I get? All right. 18.
How many shoots
know?
is that though? Right? Like I think they give them engagement shoot.
I've never
think
met every successful photographer is not struggling, and they're getting paid cash, and they're hiding it. No one's paying tax. I can just keep going, right? Wedding industry people are doing all right. All right, let's not get started on that.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying they're not doing all right. I'm just saying I think the echelon of it is the lighting engineer, a job that I didn't know existed that I was just introduced to.
How about an MC?
Oh,
MC, that's a bit of talent.
There's still,
That's a
yeah,
bit-
there's
there's
talent.
talent.
talent there, but I despise the hiring of a professional MC. You should have enough personal connections to just be yourself. Have your people.
Mind you, it's not fun. Being an MC is not fun. So there's a service I could understand you want to pay for.
I just feel like you're paying someone to fake being your friend, pretending like they
Fake
know
knowing
you.
you. Yeah. That's fair. But
Okay,
it's,
so
it's a
that- so-
thankless
so-
job,
so-
man.
So makeup artist gets paid the most, but you need talent. You can't be a
Yeah.
bad makeup artist.
You could be an
'cause
okay makeup artist. and
That's
make a lot
fine.
of money. Yeah,
To be the elite, you got to have some talent, and your work shows. Everyone's looking at it.
I can't tell.
Your photography, video guys, the video may never show up. The pictures might be late. They got a long time for that editing.
I feel
Right?
like that generation's changed. I think now we're out of the missing video guys.
Are we? Okay.
Those guys got filtered out.
It's been 10 years since I got married, so that's more my
Bobby dating
experience.
himself there.
Yeah, so I think that generation's kind of out. That was early on with the fancy editing stuff. I think
But
now.
no, wait, time. Decor. Decor makes
That's
a
a
lot.
waste. That's a total waste.
Decor makes a lot of money. It's great business though. You can't hate their hustle.
But yo, they
Right.
have a lot of employees. Like tear down, set up and tear down. I think because they got to do
Yeah.
quick turnarounds.
But I'm sure they get paid.
I don't know what the charge is, but I don't know if it's one of those gigs where it's kind of like, yo, I should just go into decor. It's easy. I think there's
Yo,
a
you-
bit of.
No, a lot
You
of
know-
people have, yeah.
You know what I would actually like to see? Someone pay for extra bartenders. Like actually
I
have licensed people somehow work with the hall and get a bunch of to ease up those lines. Like that would be like, all right, paid for that.
I've actually seen it it's pretty good these days, to be honest, Robbie.
If they have 2 bars.
Yeah, I've never
Yeah.
gone. I can't remember the last time I went to a single bar reception.
But you know what I mean. I mean that's
Yeah.
what I would pay the money. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Lighting, maybe
I
not
like
so
your
much.
priorities. I'm just saying, of all the gigs that I thought were easy, lighting guy hasn't made. Except he has to look busy. Like this guy refused to like open it, and he literally did not know how to move the spotlight, which drove me crazy. I'm like, brother, you have one job here and you don't know how to do it.
But he could just be one individual in the industry that you just got witness to. Well, the other ones actually know their stuff.
That's part of the
Awesome.
industry now. He knows. He
That
knows.
is the one.
Yeah.
I mean, I openly say that I got a good. The only reason I'm doing this is it's easier than a lot of things. But at the same time, I don't.
incriminate himself.
But I'm not worried. I'm not too worried about I 100% know that I can be easily replicated because it's that easy.
Yeah.
And I feel like every time I go to a wedding, one guy sees my shit and like, bro, that's it. And then I'm like, well, now I just created a new friggin' aggregated competition right there. But eh, when it dries up, it dries up. I still got a seal to fall back on.
No, I think the effort of actually you guys going to the events, that I mean that is annoying.
I,
So there's
I,
worth in that, you know.
I
The
appreciate
best
that.
the best is in India, man. Like my cousin, she got married. The makeup artist demanded a car. So a car came, picked up the makeup artist from her house, brought her to do the makeup, and then she got to drive her back.
That's
Like
amazing.
that's like
Man, you get an Uber
that's
XL from me. That's it. It's like I'll send you an Uber XL.
I'll take it.
All right, man. Moving on from good weddings and all that stuff. Talking about bad weddings. I don't know if you guys heard about what happened in New York. Was it New Jersey or New York? Mandeepkaur was trending on Twitter and on Instagram. She committed suicide after, and then it really comes out that her husband was not doing the nice things, being very violent and domestic abuse. And domestic abuse isn't new in our communities. It's just a topic that came back up recently because of this case. Then there was someone else local, Karmjit Sandhu, I believe it was, from Toronto. She committed suicide, same similar situation, abusive husband, all that bad shit. I don't know if there's a question here, but go ahead. Any thoughts?
Um, yeah, first of all, it's pretty troubling and sad. I couldn't, admittedly, like I couldn't make myself watch those videos. I know what happened in the video where Mandeep Kaur speaks about what she had to endure, and just before she, allegedly, well, apparently it was made before she just, committed suicide. Um, and I didn't bother watching the video of her husband attacking her. I do question what the circumstances were for the camera to be there to be able to record that. Like, was it set up because she knew it was coming and she's like laying the foundation for her exit. Either way, man, it was troubling. It is fucked up. Every community, including ours, is pretty guilty of, not really tackling this issue. Um, so it's just fucking sad, and I don't know what to say other than sympathies. I mean, I don't know what step needs to be taken other than making things easier for women to find help.
I think like I share your sentiments on that. Not much to say, but yeah, and where it's to finding help, maybe more resources, maybe celebrating those resources. Not we in the community don't boost a lot of those agencies that are available, providing support, maybe doing some charitable fundraising and really getting the word out there. I mean, the other thing is one of the things was it was the whole the gender thing. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
still blaming women for not giving you sons. I mean, let's start there. Are we that stupid as a community that we do not know the male determines the sex of the baby? Are we still there? Um, that's the thing that I always find taken back when you hear comments. So, she can't give him sons and this kind of
You know,
language, if you will. And it's like, well, you clearly don't understand basic science,
I don't know if
you know?
my perception is off, and you guys, listeners, feel free to correct me, but I've always had a sense that our generation, that's born and brought up here, that is sensitive to that issue, recognizes, that we all have witnessed or know someone who's gone through this because it was very accepted, once upon a time, not too long ago, that it's being phased out with us, and that if it's still happening here with young people, it's because they're from India, and like it was very accepted there and maybe even expected, but it's being phased out. Am I off, or like
Phased off. Which top are you talking about? Like,
I'm thinking amongst
uh,
my friends who are born and raised. I played in the park with them. I grew up. We're all married with
no,
kids.
are you
I don't hear about it. I
no,
don't have a sense of
are you talking about in terms of domestic violence or
domestic violence. Domestic violence. Like I feel like
I think it is more I don't think it's I mean to assume, let's say, that it's not or people aren't talking about. I think it is happening, but it's much more hush. I don't think the problem's gone away. Domestic violence runs rampant in every community, not just ours.
yeah.
Uh, you would hope with our generation, enlightenment, if you will, or a different track of thinking, that we would be able to defer what was seen as norm for our parents growing up that it was, like,
Exactly.
oh, it's not a
It
big
was
deal.
norm. Yeah, it's not a big deal. Yeah.
I still think it happens and it's still shunned. I mean, there's so many different family dynamics. Uh, the daughter-in-law is always blamed for a lot of things. I mean, that does happen. I think if education and more families come together and it's not this kind of like, oh, pero ne da kita, or there, we have an excuse culture. I don't know if you guys recognize that. Anything bad happens, there's an excuse. It just can't be like, no, you were wrong, and that shouldn't have been done. There's always 10 other excuses for any action. Yeah, and I agree with you. Would think that possibly it's getting better, but I mean, behind closed doors, who knows, right? But all we can really hope for is that women that are going through certain circumstances and obviously dire straits are able to reach out to certain agencies, and that's where the advocacy really has to start. That they have an outlet, men and women. There are, there's men that go through this kind of stuff too. So, um, you
You
know,
know, I want to just say one thing. I do want to say that it's not just the uneducated um,
mm,
women who are most vulnerable in going through this. I was just speaking to a judge yesterday, a judge, Gori judge,
yeah,
who endured this herself, and she called the cops,
yeah,
and the cops didn't believe her. Like, she's a lawyer at the time. They're like, "You're a lawyer. Like, I'm sure nothing's going wrong. This is all in your head. You're setting up your ex, and it's not a big deal. And this is like that. There's a stigma. Even
yeah.
in the police force, they're not. They weren't, and maybe they're getting better now. They weren't really equipped to deal with it either, right? So, she's much older, so I'm sure it's changed now. But like, just to touch on the point that it's not just unemployed or low educated, low self
Yeah.
esteem women. Um, it's everyone, man. It's across the board.
And it's just not physical. It's verbal. It's mental. I mean,
Psychological, yeah, yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's across the board. But I think, we ask what we can do. I mean, these, like I said, it's in every community. We hope we have resources. We hope we have education that hopefully women can reach out to these resources. But I mean, just from our perspective, the fact that the whole girls versus boys, I still can't fathom how people in India still believe that, you know, a woman determines
In
this.
this situation, it's people in New York, it's not in
Yeah,
India.
yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough. You know what I mean? It just, where does that come from? Where do certain religious aspects of their life to not believe that? I don't. It's very simple, man. This is not something that's argued about, but they still get blamed. So I feel like there's a lot of stupidity in our community. If that kind of starts to change, hopefully, you
This is
know,
a situation where the parents, we're all parents.
yeah,
This is where you blame the parents.
yeah, yeah.
Muh kala karo and make them go down Main Street and let people see what they did and what kind of monster they raised.
So
Anyways,
I think two things that you guys talked about are true. Um, One, like when it comes to girls, I don't know one guy who has had a daughter who at some point wasn't approached by someone and said, "Oh, koi na agla ho." Every guy I know who has had a daughter would be like, "Shinde, I was so excited about my daughter being born." Literally within 24 hours, I was approached by someone who made this offhanded comment, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Dude, it kills your vibe," and all of a sudden you're like, "What the fuck are you?" And then it comes from people that you're like, why aren't you happy? Like, why are you? And it's like some BB something, and sometimes it comes from like a random boy who's just like, "Oh, yo, that's cool, but yo, don't stress, yo, next one you got it." And then you're like, hold the fuck up. Then you realize where this. It's not just like an unpart desi thing. There's this prevalent thing that sometimes I feel like, and then knowing that it still exists is a little bit troubling. At the same time, you try to be like, look, I understand that exists. I'm gonna be the person who doesn't fucking make that joke. And some guys are like, yo, I was just cracking a joke, yo. It's like there's this. So
I mean,
it's this weird.
I mean, having a daughter, that did happen to me. I kind of chalo, it's okay. That was the what I heard. Chalo, it's okay. And I just kind of, and you guys know me. I didn't let that person down, and that's obviously we don't talk so much anymore. I'm not one of those guys.
I knew a guy who punched the guy in the face for it.
Yeah,
This
fair
guy,
enough.
really,
Fair
he's
enough, right? I
he's
mean,
had 3 daughters, and he's like, yo, I've been going through this shit since my first daughter, and I love all. And he's like a guy who loves having daughters. He's like,
yeah,
I love every aspect of it. And he's like, by the fourth one guy said something. He's like, I didn't hesitate. I just punched him straight in the mouth, broke his nose, and he wasn't worried about being charged. He's in like the correctional system, and
the
he's like,
the older generation thinking, and I don't know why they still assume that they think the boys are going to take care of them, but they're wishing that on us as well.
honest to
I
God,
don't.
it's the daughter-in-law that's going to take care of you, brother.
That's the first thing.
You
But the
gotta,
second thing, and I mean, I don't look to my kids in that way. I don't need them to take care of me, right? Like that's the way I'm. I don't want to live with them. I don't, I don't have those things that our parents had.
Robbie's gonna change his own diaper himself.
No, man. I
this
hope
guy's
I'm gone
gonna,
by then.
this guy's
And if
gonna
I'm,
hire.
Yes, you and me
not
both.
gonna, no, it's gonna,
Dude.
not. Then it's gonna be the nice nurse I hired. Don't worry, I'll be fine.
Don't worry, there's a lack of them apparently. We'll get to there soon, but
Money's a problem. Remember, we said 20 mil, right? So
yeah.
money won't be an issue then. But I don't. That needs to change. I think there's a lot of old world thought process. Some of our parents still have them, but it's like, I know a lot of other cultures talk about like I want a guy to carry my name and my so on and so forth. But
And like you
yeah.
guys mentioned, though, this isn't just a Punjabi community problem, but Punjabi community definitely has a problem, right? It's stuff that's we've all been around. We've all can like, if I was like, yo, do you know anyone, uncle or something, who's everyone can. I don't think it's that foreign of a concept to a lot of people. So when I see people on Twitter or on things saying, I can't believe this still happen, I'm like, yo, everyone. And one of the posts that was going viral was like, we all have this Arun Jodh in our family that we still invite out, we still socialize with, and we still say, look, man, he's a good guy, but sometimes he gets too many drinks, and he's got to work on that. It's just something he's got to work out, But banda da dil thega, like he's a good guy, he's a good father, he's raising his kids, he's gonna thing, and yeah, he gets tipsy, he gets a little violent. She's got to work on that. She's got to make him a better person. There's a thing with our parents' generation that was, it's on the women to reform the guys. That's their responsibility. So if your guy's hitting you, if your guy's getting pissed drunk, thodi jimmewari hai. You're the one who's going to come out and fix him, right? It was a very common thing. And I know we try to say, hey, our generation at least isn't doing it. I guarantee you there's guys we grew up with who are shitbags at home, right? Like they get drunk and they'll probably like sometimes we think about it. You guys are scumbag. Think about it though. There's guys we went to high school with. If we heard, yo, this guy abused his wife and they got divorced, you're like, yeah, that seems like it. I feel like it's to push it down like an old soch of control. Control is something that people want. White people for generations have been being their wives, and so it's not just a Eastern problem that's coming to the West. It's a Western problem that existed in the West. It's an Eastern problem that we've always had. And I feel like as a community, and I think this is not just Punjabi community, but in Punjabi community, we do have that thing of kar di gal baar nahi karni chahiye. So if it is happening at your house, we should keep it up around it and try to resolve it within the house. But we don't really resolve it. We're just like, okay, that was a one-off situation. Let's just hope it doesn't happen again. And eventually
Happens again.
it happens again and again, again and again. And there's people in power that I think sometimes we know that they've committed and done deeds, and we're not holding them accountable either. And I think that's where it gets dangerous. Is we as a community get so complacent with this shit.
We have excuses for everything.
So
That's
the
all
one
it is.
thing I'm hoping that comes from the mandeepkaur thing, and part of me is very glass of empty on this stuff, is yeah, we're gonna make some noise now, and then when it's convenient, we're gonna move away from it because the likes and the impressions that our tweets or our posts on the topic don't count as much. But I do hope there's a bit more of a, yo, that shit is pretty fucked up. Let's, hold some people accountable. And honestly, I think a big part of it, and I say this as someone speaking right now, because there's people in our community in power that we know shouldn't be. But we're not going to say their names because they're like, yo, fuck, that's a whole different thing. I don't want to go through that hassle. Let's just, like, we do lack leadership on this stuff to a certain degree.
I mean, some of I wouldn't say complacency, but some of the excuse is because it's not in your face. That's always, you always hear about stories. It's always something you heard or you hear from a third person. I think with her videos, it is going to change a lot of people. Like we said, we couldn't watch the videos, we couldn't consume it because we know what it is, right? But
I watch the most morbid. I watch Ukraine videos all the time. I can't
but
watch that. I can't watch
yeah,
simple like
yeah, but it has a different effect, right? Because you can
yeah.
see it now. So I think that will kind of have a different weight in the psyche, if you will. But if it gets people talking and talking more locally, and uh, hopefully other women are more willing to come out and speak out. I mean, in any way, and obviously we don't want to see that same eventuality be the reason for the reason any woman speaks out. Uh, if it gets people talking, that's a good thing. Maybe that's the start, right? So it doesn't
All right.
matter if it's every few years. Keep going.
So here's a
So
question I pose to you guys. You know of someone, say you know someone who's doing some shit, or you hear rumors of it. Do you approach it, or you're just like, yo, nandi kar di galla. It's better I don't get involved. Like, how do we change ourselves then if it's something that comes within our first hand? Like,
so I mean, if there's a lot of women that actually end up going to the ER for domestic abuse,
Yep. Yeah,
and then
my wife tells me so many stories. Yeah.
exactly, and a lot of those couples end up in court. That's where you have to support those people. There's no question. But I mean, we hear those stories. Oh, there he's in a court case for domestic abuse. He beat the shit out of him, X, Y, and we don't say nothing. That should be the start of the conversation, right? That people don't get off in our community when they've done something like that. But to come and call out, when you on what's the word, hearsay? Is that the word you would use, Ranjit? Of someone else saying
Of someone
something?
else.
Yeah, I mean, that's a hard
Let me-
that's a hard path to, you
Yeah,
know, you know.
but let me, Robbie, you're right. If it's hearsay, it's like I think I heard
Yeah.
that this guy does this to his wife. Yeah, you if it's a friend, we'll just put in a scenario. It's a friend who's allegedly the abuser. Just because of the history, you'll probably give him the benefit
Yeah.
of the doubt. When his partner, the wife, actually says, "Yo, bro, your bro did this to me." That's when you have that talk with your friend and say, "Your wife said this. What happened?" If he admits he did it, you say, "Look, I'm gonna break your legs next time you do this. Leave
but
her.
what if it's like the
Leave
yo,
her.
it's not even like that. Yo, you know how she
Leave her.
gets? She
Leave
gets
her.
that way.
Have a divorce. Separate. Maybe get counseling. Whatever you fucking need to do. And when you're ready, you get back together. If you hear about it, bro, I'm gonna break your legs. We're not friends anymore." And that's the reaction you gotta have.
But I all like when I think about it, I'm like, yo, I know what that conversation sounds like from his side already. Yo, bro, I gotta look. You know how she gets. She got on my case. I'm already stressed. I had a little bit of drinks in me, and I didn't even do it that hard. Yo, legit, I just tried to push her away, and then she tripped, and
Yeah.
Was that Chris? Was it Chris Rock who's like, "I'll never hit a woman, but I sure as hell shake her. I shake the shit out of her." Like that. There's a fine line. Like couples pushing each other here and there out of frustration.
Look,
Like, not a
if
big
if,
deal,
if
but
the guy's making an excuse, you just call him out on it.
yeah,
You can do that shit. There's no ifs and buts. Don't touch a woman.
yeah,
Hmm.
Don't do
exactly.
the don't do the Punjabi thing. Just be like, no,
Yeah,
bro. There's a line to it. That's it. End of story. That's how you change, right?
because I
So,
remember there's I
I
mean
mean,
there's
think of it here.
obvious.
I would say put it in this context, right? Someone hits a kid. Someone touches a kid. There's no ifs and buts. I don't want to hear your excuse. I want to kill you. Right? So, on certain things, we are very,
See, this is where I think we got to get a little technical, because touching a kid, bakri gala, that's sexually abusing. There's really no, that's a hard black and white line. There's like you hear about that. If you're at a gurdwara and a guy just smacks a kid,
no, you call them out on it.
I see.
Nah, man. So I was one of those kids that got a random tupper at a good door. I'm thought about now, if some baba touched my kid, I'd deck the hell out of him. I wouldn't even think twice.
my kid deserved it. I don't know.
No, it's not his right.
I don't know.
That's not his child. What if your kids are just have a play date at someone's house, and they did something, they got smacked the hell out, or they did something.
No. A smack the hell out's a different thing. Smack the hell out in first, but if they got a tupper for
What
being an
what
idiot,
what Punjabi tupper was like?
No,
Ain't nobody Will Smith, okay? When Punjabis give tuppers, it's proper.
no. There's a Punjabi tupper and there's a Punjabi beatdown. There's two different things there.
Hey, look,
Yo, if my kid around was at a birthday party and I wasn't there and he went around kicking everybody in the balls, and somebody's parent went on and smacked him like you can't kick kids in the balls, like all right, that's fair.
so you would be okay if his teacher kicked him, or the teacher smacked him upside the head. Say, well, that's what your kid was doing. Let me bring the cane out as well.
See, I'm not against
No,
that to some
yeah, like
degrees.
I'm against the cane. I'm against the cane.
The belt's okay, right?
No belt. Like no.
No,
Just,
not either. You're for it. There's no gray area,
oh,
right?
there is.
There has to be.
I never got. I don't know what the belt or the cane.
I got
Wait,
I
one
got
second.
prepared at the Gurdwara, and I never grew up to.
I am picturing your children who are only two. Mine's two. What's yours, Ranji?
2.5.
Yeah. So in my mindset, when you guys are talking, that's what I'm picturing. Is someone smacking the hell out of a 2-year-old?
No,
that's
but
wrong.
see, this is where you're poisoning the well by saying smacking the hell out of versus smacking. If my kid is going around spitting on people at the Gurdwara and some Baba's like and
A stern talking to is fine.
Robbie, like in 2 reviews, like I'm doing something on video, so tune on YouTube. Like you're sick. No, I'm talking more like
I'm talking about Rick James, 5-finger to the face, kind of.
the back of the head. What are you doing, kid? Like
No,
stop.
that's back of the head. That's not a slap.
That's so
not a slap.
now.
That's in Punjabi. You know what I'm talking about? A tuppar. No one gives a tuppar like that.
Gitchi marna. What's a
That's not-
gitchi?
You know when I mean tuppar, I mean tuppar.
So even this just fucking.
all right, we really need to start check the PSI on some of these hits, right? Just to check the pressure and like the
Yeah.
slap velocity.
I'm
gonna send Robbie to therapy. Yo, shouldn't hook it up.
I
These
know.
guys
Look,
are worse than what I got.
I got smacked at the Gurdwara for some
voice is
shit.
therapist. Nothing works.
I've never taken it to in high school. Like, yeah, I probably deserve that. That shit was fucked up.
So I didn't deserve it, and I remember it. I was just around some kids.
I just stuck
It
there
was
playing the
in
tabla
Malton.
and I got it.
You guys all remember probably. Whoever went to Malton probably remembers the Lungri, the old Baba that used to walk around chasing all the kids. It was him. I can't remember how old he was, but I never thought of it anything until now. I'm like, man, that wasn't right.
Yeah,
our parents
see-
would have let it pass. They're like, yo, it's whatever. We wouldn't let it pass. I guarantee you guys wouldn't let it pass.
I think I would. I honestly to God, I think
If your kid's crying their eyes out, and they've been distraught by this,
if they didn't get a concussion, it wasn't hard enough, and it's fine. That's
If
the
it didn't draw blood and there's no concussion
Good
and
luck
there's
to
no
you.
mark,
good luck
It's
to
fine.
good luck to explaining this to your respective wives. That's fine.
yeah,
She'd
no,
have to
she'd be against
understand.
it. She'd be against it.
yeah, but she'd have to
Yeah.
understand. Look, on
You guys talk a big game. Talk a big game till your wives get involved.
No, I would just disagree and put my foot down.
Oh yeah.
Whew.
listen, you're wrong on this. Gordorich, Heji, Prada Chaldi. As long as it's not a concussion, we're okay.
Smacked me so hard. He smacked me so hard. He smacked the sickie out of me.
Did you
You're,
did you have a concussion? Did you have a headache for a week after?
I don't remember. I could have.
Look,
What's
wasn't hard
the
enough.
saying? It takes a village, so it's
It takes a village.
The community's raising the kid. In Gurdwara, it's
We need that community. And there goes Ranji. He
Yeah,
got
the
smacked the hell out of this conversation.
Yeah, it's communal grounds. It's totally fair.
All right. Moving on. Community
Moving on.
smackings. We've seen Patrick Brown. Him and Gopi are going 1v1. Patrick Brown.
I just want to circle back to one topic that we just skipped over. Okay, I just quickly want to touch on this USA Border Patrol thing, and I just
Oh yeah, go for it. Go for it first.
I just want to rant on it. Just a quick
ahead.
second. Okay. I don't know a lot. I do know that a bunch of Sikhs were detained crossing the border, presumably from Mexico into Arizona, and the vegetarian ones have not been getting vegetarian food. They survived like days on days on days on crackers and water, and they've had their bugs removed. Fucked up, blah 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 for sure. This is fucking despicable for every American Sikh, rights body advocacy group, this is fucking basty and on your face. I I just thought to myself reading, I was like, what year are we in? I mean, John Tory kicked out security officers for having Dadi, and look at the uproar that was caused and how quickly that was reversed. Okay, we have established ourselves as a strong lobby group, and now I'm thinking the states, American Desi is way more richer than us, way more richer. Okay,
50 mil. 50
yeah,
mil.
that's a fuck you. You only have 10 million.
You
Like,
only-
where's your helicopter? How you can't even fly private with that, right? Like, what the fuck are you doing? So yeah, and their advocacy groups, my understanding, to my knowledge, they're way better funded than ours. They don't need to have volunteer Sikh fucking lawyers. They could hire, you know, Manhattan lawyers to fucking push their cause and paid top dollar and fucking get that shit done. So where the fuck, like, it's just a shame on every American Sikh that is in that space where they're pushing for rights for people, that this happened. This is on you. You suck at whatever the fuck you're doing. Figure out your shit and get better at it. Come up here, call whoever the fuck you want, take a lunch, have a sit down, but you suck at what you're doing. Figure it out.
And so I agree with that, with the analysis of the organizations. That, I mean, this is kind of on them, but I'm not gonna play devil advocate's a bad word here, but this is the same agency, am I to believe, that was putting the kids in cages and separating the kids from their parents from their kids, right? And the world really didn't care. Am I right to assume that most of these guys are getting caught at the border trying to cross illegally?
Yeah, probably, for sure.
Yeah, so I mean that's kind of in America. They're through their psyche they see it in a different light. I don't know. I don't know the human rights if they follow any kind of amnesty international guidelines and these things. I mean that's
They do.
what we
They
have.
do.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean then it's appalling. I'm not agreeing with them. I'm just saying. I mean that's probably the American psyche why there's not such an outcry because it's a border issue. But yeah, man, it's sad to see it. This is on the Sikh organizations that really haven't Sikh organizations that really haven't stepped
Yeah.
up or are
And
not raising awareness, or
you snip what I said and you fucking tag every group that you know, and I will take whatever heat. But dude, they suck. Like, what is it? Like, I think I only know one Sikh coalition, right? Is that the one?
That's their big advocacy group that
Yeah,
takes on
like,
most illegal challenges.
so, my understanding is compared to WSO, they're fucking way well funded. I'm sure there's
Yeah.
other groups. Even on the West Coast, like Arizona on the West Coast, close to Cali, there's a huge cohort of Sikhs and Sikh lawyers out there who've done well for themselves. Why the fuck are you not all over this? As a member of your profession, I'm fucking shocked that you're not in there doing pro bono work, making sure that these people detained are their rights aren't being enforced. They have basic human rights that they're entitled to. Why the fuck are you not there?
Okay, so I'm gonna quickly just give my quick 2 cents on it. I don't know if it's fair yet to shit on the Sikh organizations there, because maybe they were caught off when, like, what the fuck? What's going on? What? Like, America's a big place. In Canada, we get caught off guard by small things all the time. We're able to react quickly because we established ourselves politically enough, and in these different groups that we know who to call now. For a while, we didn't know who the fuck to call to, like. That's why John Tory shit got corrected so quick. We knew exactly which numbers to dial, which politicians, they knew who to call to get this stuff, like, quickly addressed and handled. Maybe Americans just aren't that established yet because they haven't had that level. But I'm sure that this thing didn't wasn't on their radar for years and they just haven't acted. You know,
Okay.
I feel
Okay.
like maybe they just haven't had the time to react to it.
I
Go,
just
Robbie.
I once said I was just reading an article here. It's the ACLU.
ACLU.
They're the
Yes.
main ones writing letters to the Border Patrol. So
Yeah. There's
maybe
no stick group.
but
It's
maybe
ACLU.
the SIG groups are working with the ACLU. That could be a
Okay.
possibility,
So
right?
Shinde, going back to your point, Canada, U.S. Have Sikhs been in Canada longer than the U.S.?
Like US, they've been there since almost longer, I think, or maybe
Yes.
same time.
Okay. So they've been there longer. Okay.
So I know at least about Stockton. I don't know elsewhere.
They've been there longer. Okay. Thank you. Are we richer than them?
No, they're definitely. I mean,
Okay.
they got built.
Are
They got,
Sikhs in Canada more well educated than Sikhs in America?
no, they're more educated there for
Okay.
sure.
Have Sikhs in Canada reached higher professional echelons than Sikh Americans?
Debatable. We've gotten some pretty high ups.
We're professors, lawyers, doctors, the traditional, money makers, influence shakers. They hit that? Professors
Yeah,
even?
yeah, they've hit that.
They've hit all that, right? Journalists as well. So why the fuck can't they figure it out?
But those aren't the people in Canada pushing a lot of this stuff either. It's
Yes,
honestly the
yes, it is.
grassroots Sikh orgs that are pushing for things, and then we got people organizing the right
Thank
people.
you.
So
Thank you.
like,
You're just proving my point. It's the grassroots organizations who reach out to these people who exert their influence and power and control and money to the fucking
But-
politicians.
But I'm just saying maybe it is
I
a
can't even
bad.
say there aren't any Desi politicians in India. Sorry, in the USA. There's tons.
But I
There's
mean
tons.
that's what I'm saying. The probe that's been started now due to the ACLU being on it. Maybe the ACLU was approached by some of these organizations, and the ACLU has a lot more power. Maybe that's the way they did it. That's what I'm saying.
all
Right?
I'm saying, I'm not.
It's the ACLU taking the lead, and when they're the biggest organization, aren't they?
Look,
For
all I'm saying
civil
is,
liberties.
look, all that aside, we have friggin' Quebec that we're still trying to tackle, right? With all our politicians and all our power, and we're just like, we still got Bill C-21 against us. So
I'm talking
I'm
about
not.
the
Look,
most
I'm,
basic human right. Prisoner of war is,
no. Okay,
kind of
so
shit.
I get that. I just
I'm
don't.
not talking about a sophisticated argument
Part-
of who can work where.
I'm just wondering if they haven't had their time to really just get that engine going, and even if their engine is going, that maybe it is working.
Why the fuck hasn't this already been dealt with? That when you have a sick inmate, prisoner, immigrant, foreign national, that
So,
this is the basic decorum that you have to adhere to. They have
are-
kirpana, they have kade, they have case, they have dastara, they have this diet.
so the issue was obviously with the turbans. Are we more concerned with the food or the zastar?
Both, I think, for me,
Both.
the start.
Both.
Is it
critical.
equal? Okay.
Like
I'm just
does,
asking. I'm just asking.
if they were to remove the start, you'd be like, okay, does it surprise me that they didn't keep proper satକାର at the start, they just tossed in the garbage? You know what? That shit kind of happens here too. Like at the airport, the number of Sikhs who leave their kirpana at the security desk and it goes into thing. Because I've dealt with calls from security saying, "Yo, we got a basket full of kirpana here," and because we've had Sikh security guards confiscating them, having some respect for them, they're like, "Yo, we didn't toss them in the garbage, but my supervisor told me to toss it. Can I just like go to the gurdwara and just give it to the gurdwara, or can?" And I've gone and I've grabbed like a bag and full of kirpana that I just took to the gurdwara, like, just keep this in your library. If it were to happen in places where people didn't have that satକାର, does it anger me? Yeah, but it's kind of like, I don't expect this guy to know that or have that kind of respect sometimes. I do want them to do better. I just don't know if we're jumping on the Sikh orgs for not acting too early.
And to circling back to your point, Robbie, if it is ACLU, that was nudged to take care of this, like, no, I mean, at what point do you hide behind ACLU? You have to show your face.
So I think what you're saying is
this
you want
is the opportunity. If
I
at the
think-
very least,
I think what you're asking for is more of a public outcry from those organizations, really highlighting and cementing the fact of the wrongdoing that's been done, where it kind of appears a little bit silent. And I think that's what the angle you're taking. I can agree to that. It should be all
100%.
over Twitter.
100%.
If I could take the conversation and maybe in a different direction, these gentlemen are seeking asylum. Should Punjabis be doing this? This illegal entry into
I mean,
You
how
know,
do you
through
think all of us got into Canada, man?
no,
A big
I'm
chunk of
just
our population migrated into
I'm
Canada in the
not
80s.
saying I'm not saying right or wrong now with so many routes available, and how dangerous it can be to do something like that. You know, is there an obsession with leaving Punjab and by any means necessary? Is there? I thought the student thing was like, it was kind of guaranteed. It's easy now. You don't got to take all these like reckless, people who used to go from Pakistan to Germany to, all these other routes that they used to take. I just thought the student thing has opened up the world to everybody.
Like that's a whole other topic and issue. Fine, let's just say, for sake of the conversation, I agree with you. They shouldn't take the asylum route. They get detained, get treated as fucking human
Oh,
beings,
for sure. I
and
mean
sent back.
that's irrespective. I agree with you there. I'm just for the sake of conversation saying,
Yeah.
I'm shocked when I hear about Punjabis still taking that route and going through, what, I guess most South Americans are trying to get into the U.S. from the south, and the treacherous environments that they go through. I'm shocked that Punjabis take that route.
I
That's
just
just
want to
my
cut you
feeling. Yeah.
here that Mexico is technically part of North America, not South America.
Well, I know I'm saying South Americans from Ecuador and or Central America, I guess you would say.
I feel like you meant.
No Ecuadorians. What was that trail of people that were coming for asylum?
Yeah.
That's what I'm not talking about Mexicans.
All
That's what you're
right.
getting at, Shenda.
I'm
Yeah,
just
he
saying, I
probably
feel like.
knows. He goes there every other week for as long as
Man,
Christmas. He knows.
100%.
Okay.
Hola.
I mean, yeah. Do I want it to see this resolved? Yes. Am I holding Sikh orgs there more accountable? I don't think they've expired. Showed me.
Well,
I don't think they've showed me to be incompetent enough yet to be like, yo, what the fuck? I think the part of what we're hearing this from, because this was probably shared through their networks to a bunch of Sikhs that it even got that thing, right? It didn't just magically show up and, oh, Sikhs in America did share this. That's why it came on our radar. So people did raise some noise. That's why we learned about it.
remember, a lot of the Sikhs there are Republicans.
Yeah.
You've had a bunch of people standing up at Trump rallies and talking about anti-immigration. So they're not gonna defend people coming in. Like that's just I'm saying the psyche's so messed up. But I think Ranji, you're probably cutting Canadian organizations a bit short. I think maybe it's showing our strength more than theirs. Maybe we are stronger in that regard. Maybe we are more vocal, more organized. They might have more money in education, but I think our organizations do a better job at getting on top of that soapbox and letting the world know. So,
Look, I'd be
you
doing
know,
a disservice by not saying if you do think Sikh orgs in Canada are doing a better service and you agree and you're listening to this, WSO gets zero real public funding.
mm,
Hit them up, man. Honest to God,
yeah,
these guys
Yo,
legit are running on a shoestring budget of volunteers
thank you.
who are happy to, but they need funding. They desperately need funding. And even without funding, we've been doing wonders, but funding helps. It helps feed the people working.
Yeah.
So
So to all these Subway gas station owners in the U.S., yeah, you guys should fund WSO too. They'll probably do the job of the American orgs, for them. Um, and yeah, I'm gonna hold them 100% accountable. I can't imagine some Jewish dude or some group of Jewish guys and their kippas being taken away along with their Torahs and being fed non-kosher meals while being held in detainment, and the Jewish advocacy groups running to the ACLU. The ACLU be part of it, of course. Every fucking group, CNN, Fox News, everybody would be talking about it. Everybody would know that. Oh, this is like we have what WGA, something like that here. I think America Jewish something is what they have in the States. They would all be having them interviewed, and their lawyers would be doing the talking and carrying the narrative. They wouldn't be begging people to promote it, outside their community. They'd have their own people doing it. Um, I don't know why they're so far behind. It makes absolutely no sense. It's mind-boggling. Um, yeah, just step it up. I would love to be proven wrong. I would love in 5 years from now to say, "Hey, fuck, like they got it made. Do it. That's the country to do it." And you're the biggest fucking, influential country there is out there. Show us the ropes. That's how it should have been done. The reverse is fucking mind-boggling. Just
All
figure
I'm
your shit
saying
out.
is, on that note, if United Sikhs were to start a fundraiser, be a little careful, because
Yeah.
I've always said these guys
Let's start a
they
GoFundMe
don't
page right now.
they don't have the greatest track record sometimes when it comes to delivering funds that they've raised. So I'm gonna put that out there that they need to do better there too. Where we at? Yo, we're at an hour and 10 minutes. Let's quickly touch on a few more things. Nurses, more hospitals did get shut down.
Oh, it is a big deal, eh, boys? I wasn't just
I
some
mean,
crazy
look,
liberal.
I feel like we need to get these nurses back at work. Tell them to shut their vacations down. Let's get this going. Like, stop shutting these hospitals down to prove a political point. You know,
I mean, if they're part of a union, I think you should be talking to the union.
You know, talking to nurses, uh, yeah, like they are being asked to. They're being asked as they're going home from their 12-hour shift to come back and work longer. They're being asked to take care of patients in hallways where they don't have the materials and tools and resources that they need that they would have in a room to take care of these people. So what they're doing is they're, you know, being asked to risk their license to do this hallway healthcare when they are not being appreciated and paid for what they have to do. And, you know, we're shitting on them for
being lazy. Get to
for
work.
being lazy. Yeah, for being lazy. You know, that's the perspective or the narrative Shinda's running. I'm curious just what your wife thinks about that. I'm sure she'll put you online.
Y'all really trying to get me in trouble today on this podcast. I feel
Yeah.
like, lucky for me, my wife
that should
doesn't
be-
listen to this, and I don't know why you guys are encouraging her to. Look, I'm not trying to say nurses suck. I'm just saying, yeah, is there a problem? Sure, but I feel like there's some political games happening because their contracts are up for renewal soon. So let's create some narratives that really help.
There's
No?
legit, Shinda, you know as many nurses as I do, speak to any of them that are in that environment.
I know
They
a
are
lot of nurses
burnt.
who
They
say
are burned
no,
the F out.
they are, and they said, I think I chose the wrong career path.
Yeah, because they have no support, no help whatsoever.
I think just hire more.
Hire more.
Yeah,
You don't have to pay. You don't have to pay more. Just
just
hire
hire
more.
more. I think I'm in favor of that. I think solutions. There's pragmatic. I should be a politician. This is what we got to do, foot boys. We're running out of. We don't have enough nurses graduating the programs. Let's find nurses with foreign credentials who come from good enough places that would have, they're decent nurses. Let's get them in the hospitals working, and then let's.
And that's where I think the feds have dropped the ball. Like
I mean,
every
but at the
every
same,
province has bad healthcare. Like the provinces are idiots.
but
And
you're
whoever's running them. But the feds
saying
have
that,
fucked up on that end. That's and too. They have the solution on the immigration front to fast track nurses and healthcare professionals to come to Canada.
yeah, but the problem with what you guys are saying and saying there's not enough nurses. Some of there probably might be a lot of registered nurses. They just don't want to work for the pay that's being given. Right. So what you're
But
saying
I
is,
know
well,
there's
let's.
plenty of nurses willing to move to Canada if and take the pay they
Yeah,
get.
but then you're gonna talk about regulations and the ability of certain nurses and passing boards and standard of care. I mean, there's a lot of other things. It's not easy as saying green light, let's go. Um, you know,
A lot of liberal excuses coming out of Robbie right now.
no, I think the tier system, like for me, the tier system, you're gonna have the nurses you need, pay them. There's just there's people that are essential, pay them, and there's other people that get paid because of a union, hire more of them. You know, I mean, it's not an easy solution, but the Dougler needs to say something.
So Robbie, let me put it this way: if there's some sort of shortage of, doctors, and they needed you in the hospital, where you're not going to get support, you're going to be working like 10 patients at once, critical care, urgent care, in the hallway, and for a pay boost, but where you're likely to, just out of rush, make a mistake and be negligent
Yeah.
and risk your license. Is risking your license for a shift of double pay worth it for you?
No, I once again I said hire more nurses. I mean the whole structure needs to be blown up, right? Then if you look at the admin and the way everything's structured, these are not the best people to organize. I mean, there has to be said like there are hospitals that work in the world, right? Our problem is that we're publicly funded. So we always go back to that, oh, we don't have enough money. Fund it. Simple. I mean, there's no,
Or
we don't want to pay for it, and this is the thing. And then if you say, well, let's do a copay every time you go to hospital, everybody throws up their arms. Oh, well, we paid for parking already. We need money. You want the real solution? The feds can say whatever they want. You can
I
hire
mean,
nurses. We need money, and when you have money, you can fund any program you want to. You can get better standard of care. You can remember it's all
that
free.
sounds a lot like let's just raise taxes.
But if you don't want that, then let's do copay. Then you get the people screaming about how this privatized healthcare.
Or they're like, why is so and so program getting money and not the? Why are we
Oh,
spending money on policing?
we want everything. We just don't want to pay for it, right? This is the truth of Ontario, right? So, do I think nurses deserve more? Yes. Do I think they need more nurses? Yes. Does there we need more beds in hospitals? Yes. I mean, the answer is yes. All across all fronts.
So
The
let's
question
just do
is
as the Douglas said, get her done.
let's see who gets it done exactly, right? But I mean,
Point is, I pointed this out a week ago, and I'm right. So listen to me.
what do you write about?
That we need more nurses.
Yeah,
That this hospital thing was a big deal. It's a big deal.
listen.
There's a collapse.
Look, man.
Whatever's
Come
going on
September,
now.
people are going to go back to work. Their vacations are going to end. We're going to be fine. This isn't that COVID crisis where everyone's just sick. This is
Hey, man, a few more
this
interest,
is gonna be snipped out. This is
few
gonna be
more-
snipped too.
a few more interest rate hikes, a few more job losses. Nurses will be working double shifts, man. Like, at the end of the day, everyone needs money. There are going to be people willing to work. Hire more, pay them better, fix the system. You know, nurses should really appreciate what they do. They are valued in our society. We do need to show them that. The hospital needs to show them that by their work conditions. And if you're a nurse, if you hate going to work, I mean that's awful, man, because that's going to show up in your care, right? If you absolutely hate what you do, so I think that mindset needs to be changed, and that's all healthcare, right?
Yeah, but let's cap their raises, but everybody else, all the other
No,
units.
I disagree with it.
I swear to God,
I
I swear to God, Raji's vying for something. Maybe he wants to go on a trip. Maybe he wants something. He's trying to get that clip that he can share with his wife. Like, look, I did it. I said this.
Personal interest, right?
I'm really questioning his motives on this topic right now.
There's certain public sectors that have been getting raises. The public sector, look how much consultants make. You know, look at that IT guy who just stole $12 million. And like, our government, the systems are broken. We need to really analyze healthcare. And
just personally, I had someone in immediate family at Brampton Civic for a week in the hallway.
Mhm.
A week.
A week.
Oh, no, Thursday to Monday. Thursday to Monday.
But once again, who do you approach? That it should be the Ministry of Health,
In a
the
hallway.
Ministry of Health, and then essentially who is the Minister of Health, and then you go to the Premier. So they're all quiet.
They're on vacation, man. Vacation season's gonna end soon. They're gonna be back to work in this week. They're gonna get it done.
Even if that's the case, it should be better. It should never get to this point.
This is an emergency session kind of shit.
I don't know. What
This
are they gonna
is-
what are they gonna
Look,
do?
they just spent 2 years under emergency session. Give them a break. Let them. They'll
Oh,
get
they
back
did.
to it.
They took their breaks. They were pretty normal.
Get her done.
Get her done.
All right, quickly moving on because we've hit way past our time that we wanted. Bonded of the week, fuck. If you beat your wife, you're a bonded that deserves to get smacked. I don't have like a particular bonded, but we do have some goats of the week, legends of the week. The Punjabi diaspora representing Canada and I guess even the world, who were at the Commonwealth Games and came back with medals. Shout out to our boy Bick Gill. He was on the 3-on-3 basketball team that came in third. Six Beard Singh, follow him up on Instagram, wherever. He did an episode with us once upon a time, long time ago, when he was in the NCAA. So it's great to see him do. There was another great story that came out in the wrestling category, the 4 winners, 1 gold, 1 bronze, 1 silver, and 2 bronze who tied, all Punjabis
Yeah.
from across the world.
Of Khalsa wrestling in BC. Yeah, that was sick. Canada with the gold. And then yeah, man, a Punjabi guy from Pakistan. I'm gonna give everybody's name I mentioned because they deserve it. Zaman Anwar, Madir Kuner from England, and Mohit Garel from India. Fucking heavyweights, 125 kilo class. They fucking killed it, man. Big ups, all
Yo,
Punjabis.
is this like a sign like a Buddy itself is a winner maker? Like, guarantee these guys came from Balwani.
They all came
Yeah.
Pulwan families, wrestling, Roman Greco wrestling style. Like,
And they probably all play
that's their
Kabaddi.
roots.
But they
No.
probably all participate in some sort of Kabaddi tournaments too, no?
No, I don't think so. I think they just did Greco-Roman Kushti
Hmm.
and wrestling. I think that's all they did, man. And it's in our blood, man. I think we've been doing it ever since Sikandar hit India, Alexander the Great. So a couple thousand years.
And that quote from Mike Tyson where he's like, "No, you're not Alexander. I'm Alexander." That shit comes to mind. That little clip. I don't know why he said Alexander the Great like that. You haven't heard that?
No,
heard
I
that.
don't know.
I'm just laughing.
I know
I'm
what
just
you
laughing.
did.
Oh man, I gotta play it. Robbie, you didn't hear this?
I haven't heard it like the way you impersonate it, but yes, I
mean,
have heard of that. Yeah.
All right, whatever. But yo, respect to these guys holding it down. I think it's great to see Punjabis showing that it's, wrestling is still out there. And yo, another one of our boys, he won. I don't know what medal he won. He won a medal at like the police games not too long ago. So shout out to Mr. Nijit.
I was gonna make a donut joke. Okay.
All
Welcome back.
right. On that note, man. Yo, any final thoughts? We might
Peace.
hopefully get to the topics that we missed out, but yo, continue to hit that like button if you listen to us on YouTube. Subscribe. Encourage people to subscribe because those metrics matter. Comment. Honestly, comment saying good. G-U-D. If you got this far in the podcast and you listen to us on YouTube, just type good because that'll encourage YouTube to share our shit with other people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Peace.
Bye bye.